You hear it all the time. Drink less coffee, don't buy the new phone, save every penny, and you'll buy an apartment. It sounds logical. But let's just do the math. Let's imagine you work hard, you save strictly, and you manage to put away $4,800 a year. In 1980, at that pace, you would have saved enough for a house in about 7 years. Today, just to save for the down payment, that's only 20% of the price, in a major city, it would take you nearly 28 years. 28 years of strict saving just for the down payment. That is half a lifetime. But the problem isn't just the price tag. The problem is who is trying to buy the same apartment you are. And it's not another young family. Let's look at the facts. Back in the 80s, a house cost about 3 times your annual salary. That was achievable. Today, in major cities, the price of an apartment equals your salary for 10, sometimes 15 years. But the scariest part is the age. In the past, people bought their first home at 29. By the time they retired, the mortgage was fully paid off. Today, the median age of a first-time buyer is 40. What does that mean in practice? It means you will be paying the bank until you are 70 years old. You are working your entire life, not for yourself, but to pay interest on 4 walls. Imagine you show up to buy an apartment. You have your savings and a mortgage pre-approval from the bank. You're nervous, but your competitor isn't a person. It is a massive investment company. After the 2008 crisis, big firms realized that residential housing is a profitable business. They come into the market with billions of dollars. They don't need a mortgage. They pay the full price in cash instantly. For a seller, it is much better to sell to them than to wait for a bank to approve your loan. These companies buy homes by the hundreds, not to live in, but to rent them back to you. You can't buy an apartment because you are competing against corporations. The older generation often says, you spend money on nonsense, that's why you don't have a home. But psychologists say something else. It's called rational despair. Look at it this way. If you realize that saving for an apartment will take 30 years, your motivation disappears. The goal is too far away. But for that same money you could have saved, let's say $500, you can go on a vacation or buy something nice today. This isn't irresponsibility. It is a choice to live now, rather than waiting for a miracle 3 decades from now. You get stuck in a loop. Rent is expensive. It eats up most of your salary, so saving for your own place is impossible. And so you continue to rent. But people are still buying apartments, right? Who are these young people? If we look at the honest data, it becomes clear. Nearly 40% of young home buyers receive money for their down payment from their parents. In expensive cities, that number is even higher. We are used to thinking whoever works harder lives better. But right now, the real estate market works differently. It doesn't matter how high your salary is. What matters is whether your parents managed to buy property in the 90s. 2 people can have the exact same job and the exact same salary. But one will buy an apartment because their parents sold a grandmother's house, and the other will not. It is an uncomfortable truth, but it is a fact. You might say, but what about government programs? Low-interest loans? It sounds good, but in practice, this often just raises prices. Imagine, there are few apartments, but many buyers. The government gives people cheap loans or cash grants. Suddenly, buyers have more money to spend. What does the seller do? They simply raise the price. In the end, that extra money doesn't go to you, it goes to the sellers and developers, and housing becomes even more expensive. The situation looks bad, but let's look at it from another angle. In the past, owning an apartment was a symbol of success and stability. It was an anchor for life. Today, the world changes very fast. Jobs change, cities change. If you buy an apartment with a 30-year mortgage, you tie yourself to one spot. You can't easily move to where there is a better job or a higher salary. Maybe in 2026, the real value isn't concrete walls, but the freedom of movement. Instead of giving all their money to the bank for a box, people are investing in themselves, in their education, in business, or in their health. The system has changed. Buying a home has become incredibly hard, not because you are bad with money, but because the rules of the game have changed. Don't let the lack of an apartment make you feel like a failure. Build capital in your head and in your accounts, not just in bricks. Stay untethered.